Hey ladies, so I'm going to show you a quick video tutorial on how to make the lookbook gift bags that I posted yesterday. If you're going to do it, you need one of the old lookbooks, and then you will also need scissors and a ruler, a pen or a marker, some sort of liquid glue, but preferably not hot glue. A hole punch if you have one. If not, it's okay, you can just use scissors. And then if you want to seal it at the end, you'll need ribbon or tulle. So the first thing you're going to want to do is take the lookbook and find 2 pages that complement each other that you're going to use for the bag. If you kind of bend the spine, it helps the pages come out a little bit more cleanly. But if it doesn't come out perfectly, you can always trim the ends. But you just want them to be as straight as possible, and you want to conserve as much paper as possible. And then you're going to take the 2 and overlap them just a little bit. And then what I'm gonna do along here is put a little bit of rubber cement. I like the rubber cement because it dries clear and it doesn't make the pages curl. If you use like hot glue or something that's a little stronger like that, what's going to happen is that the color changes, and then sometimes the page also wrinkles, which just doesn't make your bag look quite as nice. So I just put a strip of rubber cement there, and then I'm going to overlap the other page, smooth them out, and then I'm going to let this dry before I move on to the next step. So now that both of the pieces of paper are glued together, I'm going to decide which side I want to be the outside of my bag and which one is going to be the inside. So I like this side a little bit better for the outside, and so I'm actually going to lay this down, and so I'm looking at the inside of my bag. And from here, I take the ruler and I'm going to do a pattern of 5 inches, 3 inches, 5 inches, 3 inches, and then you'll have a little bit left. It'll be probably anywhere from 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches, depending on how much of the paper you had to cut off at the beginning to make the edges straight. Since you can still kind of see the inside of the bag when you're unpacking it, I just make little marks. I don't make an entire line. So I'm just going to make a couple notes at 5, 3, 5, and 3 again. And then mine has about 3/4 of an inch left, which is perfect. The next thing that you're going to want to do is take your ruler and line it up with that line. You're going to be folding your paper multiple times, and you want to fold it in the same direction every time. So I'm going to start on my left and fold over my ruler. My ruler is just a guide since I didn't draw an entire line. So I'm going to kind of make a crease, remove the ruler, and then fold completely. So it looks like that. Then I can open it back up, find my next line, and again, lay down the ruler, make a fold over the ruler, and then I can kind of slip it out and crease it completely. So I'm going to continue to do that with the next 2 lines. If you want your bag to be the same exact size as mine here, we are going to make a 2-inch fold now to make the bottom of it about 2 inches. If you want your bag to be maybe a little bit thinner and taller, so if you're using it for more of a packet or you're trying to put the new opportunity flyers in it, something besides a thicker bag of jewelry, then you can make it any size that you want, just make it smaller than that 2 inches. So for this tutorial, I'm just going to show you how to do the 2 inches. So from the bottom of your paper, you're going to measure up 2 inches, and again, just make a little mark. And what we're going to do is the same thing with the ruler, just using it as a guide. So I'm going to lay it at the 2 inches, and then fold the bottom of the paper upwards over the ruler, make a little crease, and then really finish the fold so that it ends up looking like this. The next step is to take the paper and you're going to fold it into a rectangle using the folds that we've already made to make the outer shell of your bag. So if you just fold them each up, you'll find that that extra 1/2 inch or so that you had is going to tuck perfectly underneath the other side. So that's where we're going to put our strip of glue, so you won't be able to see that seam at all, and it'll make the rectangle. So after after that dries, you're going to have the shell of your bag done, and you want to go ahead and turn it so that you're looking at the bottom of the bag. So you'll be able to see where you had that fold, and what you're going to want to do is cut on each of the corners up to that fold. So again, for me, that's 2 inches. And you'll just do that all the way around. So now that that's done, I'm going to fold the longer flaps first. And there's a couple different ways you could do this. You could wrap it like a birthday present. You could wrap it like, or you could fold it like an envelope if you want. I just like to kind of fold it more like a box. It's just a little bit easier, and I think it gives it a lot of reinforcement on the bottom. So again, I'm gonna take the 2 longer pieces and I'm going to fold them so that they overlap in the middle, and I'm gonna put a little bit of glue there. So since it is just paper, it's a little bit hard to really get them to stick together. So what I like to do is go ahead and flip the bag over and just stick your ruler inside and kind of drag it along so that all of the spots with glue on it are really sticking to the other piece of paper before the glue dries. Now you've still got these 2 other flaps on the bottom. You could just fold them over and glue them just like that if you don't want to take any more time to cut them or fold them any differently. Another thing that you can do that sometimes makes it a little bit more balanced and you don't have any of the edges coming out and being seen is you can either fold these into a triangle or you could cut them. So just for time, I'm just going to fold them, and really if you don't cut them and you fold them, you still have a little bit more of that strength on the bottom. So sometimes it's a little bit better for the bag. So I'm folding it into a triangle like that. I'm gonna do that on both sides. So now that I have those 2 into triangles, I'm going to glue them down. And then I'll do the same thing as I did before and flip the bag over and use my ruler to flatten it all out to make sure that the glue is sticking everywhere. So at this point, your bag could be done. If you just want to pack it full of Hostess packets and other goodies and just leave it undone at the top, you totally can. Another thing that you could do if you needed a little bit more reinforcement is you can take cardboard or poster board and cut it to be the same size and shape as the bottom. And then you can stick that inside to add that reinforcement. What I like to do is I like to kind of pinch the sides in to make it look a little bit more like a gift bag. So to do that, you are just going to take your index fingers and on either side of the bag, you're going to press in. And then you can take your middle fingers and your thumbs, and you're just going to use that to bring the other 2 sides of the bag together so that you have them on either side, kind of like a Happy Meal. And then you can crease it. I just crease it about halfway down. You don't need to crease it the entire way. And you can do that on both sides. So now the top of your bag is going to be able to be secured with a ribbon. For this step, you'll need to decide which side of the bag you want to be your front. So I'm just gonna pick this side, and one thing you can use is a hole punch. Another thing that you can do if you don't have a hole punch is you can just use scissors. So to do that, you are going to take the top and fold it over towards the back of your bag. You want to make sure that you are not cutting through the flaps, and so it's probably only going to be about 1 inch, maybe 2 inches apart in the middle of your bag, and you're just going to cut some slits. So the slits will go through the front and the back of the bag, but again, you don't want it to cut the flaps that we pushed in on the sides. So now that you have the holes in your bag, you can take about 1.5 feet to 2 feet of ribbon or tulle, and you're going to start at the front of your bag, and you're going to feed it through the hole, and then through the back hole. And then you'll come around starting on the back and work your way towards the front. And once it gets to the front, I'm just gonna tie a bow. In the end, you should end up with a bag that is about 5 by 7 inches that you can give out all your goodies in.